I think the problem in this business is that agents...
So the big question is, what are top agents doing to absolutely crush it in real estate, grow their teams and add more transactions year over year while so many struggle? To get the answers, we interview the top real estate agents to learn their secrets to success. My name is Andrew Dunn.
And my name is Peter Michael. Welcome to Elite Agent Secrets.
Hey everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Elite Agent Secrets show. Today we have two very special guests for you, Jennifer Mertland and Monica Weekly, the co-hosts of the Real Estate Fight Club, and have been in real estate for combined over 30 years, although they look less than 30 years old. We're going to get their secrets to youth on today's show. Not only that, we are going to be discussing what success looks like, ways to generate leads, and being authentic and building a real business. Jennifer, Monica, thank you for coming on the show. How are you ladies doing today?
We are great.
Super.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Peter Michael. I appreciate being here.
Wow,
Yes.
today's definitely going to be an interesting dynamic. We're going to try not to talk over each other, but we all have a lot to say. I think, well, first of all, we're not going to get into any fights just yet.
What? Oh, we're out.
We will.
We're out. We will. It's going to happen.
But guys, give us a little bit of... There we go. He's out. Andrew gets knocked out. But give us a little bit of your backstory. Give us a little bit of context around your success, what you've been up to, and why you even got started in the industry here as we dive into your topics just in a little bit.
Jennifer.
Who do you want to go first?
I was going to say, let's do Jennifer and then Dimon. We're going to have to call this out. Listeners, you're going to have to forgive us. We've got four hot, hungry real estate pros on the show today, and we're already dive in. So Jennifer, hit us. Take us back
Hot
to
and
when
hungry.
you got,
I like it.
Take us back to when you got into real estate.
Well, actually, it all began but funny story, when I was little and we would travel. This was back when they had the newspapers. So all the newspapers would have all the open houses in it. I would literally circle the open houses and be like, Mom, we got to go to these open houses. And I was like 12 or 13. And she's like, you're the weirdest little kid that I know. I was like, I don't care. I want to go. I loved it. So I always knew I was going to be a real estate agent. But then when I looked at realtors and I was like, all they have is like super big hair and a lot of jewelry. And like, it's too much. Do you have to be old to be a realtor? And then I was like, you know what? F it. I'm doing it. So here we are.
Stuck in. That is like big hair, jewelry. Do I have to? Fuck it. I'm just going to go anyway. That's it.
Just going.
That's how we get into it.
Classic. Hey, I think there's an idea for a theme party there, Jen. It's go as your 1980s realtor.
Oh,
Yes, I love it.
That'll be
Everyone
good.
listening, you're invited. Our 10,000
That's right.
people listen every month. Like, you're invited. This is going to be a fucking party, man.
It's going to be awesome.
Let's do it. All right.
Monica.
That's funny. You know what's funny? Yeah. What's funny is when I was 21, so I was a little older than 12, I graduated from college and I was sitting with my parents out on the back deck and they're like, what are you going to do with your life? Because I thought I was going to be a lawyer. That's what my family was forever. And then I decided to, win everybody's heart by breaking that tradition and not doing that. And I said to my mom and dad that I wanted to be a real estate agent. And they said, absolutely not. We forbid it. Like, you cannot, because you need to go get a job that pays you. I'm like, okay. So I did not get my real estate license when I was 21. I waited till I was 30, jumped in and have been doing it. Was I 30? Well, anyway, long time after that. But have been full-time selling ever since. And Jen and I are both in Cincinnati, and we approach the business very differently. If you've listened to our podcast, you'll hear that's why we fight all the time, because Jen thinks her way is right and it's not, and my way is right. And, I'm just trying to spread the love.
It's not.
Right.
Right.
I smell an argument coming, but I got one question for you, Monica. Do you regret not getting started in real estate sooner, or that was the right time for you to actually get started?
It was definitely the right time for me not to get started, because my level of maturity at that point and my level of commitment to anything other than, partying and saying yes to friends was not there. So knowing what I know now about what it takes to be a business owner and actually have success in this business, I was not ready for that at that time. So probably a blessing, but it still pisses me off.
I love the emphasis on knowing what I know now and being a successful business owner. There you go. There's that theme again that we talked about. And Jen, we talked about this on Fight Club too. It's you have to treat this like a business, no matter how you slice it or dice it. If you're just going to approach this as a part-time or as a hobby, when you approach it part-time, you still treat it as a business, never treat it as a hobby, because it will pay you like one, aka it won't pay you at all.
Correct.
Well, I think though that the TV shows and also like our personas online and the barrier to entry being so low everywhere, it's like, it seems like it should be easy. And it is simple to be a real estate agent, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you only have 5 jobs and most of those are generating leads. But like, it seems, but it's not easy. It is hard and it is like a grind and you have to be committed to it and it's time on task.
Give us some shock numbers. How many homes do you reckon you've sold and what were your numbers like during the pandemic last year? Things like that. You've been in this business for a long time now.
Yes. I do between 30 and 40 deals because I also run a coaching business. So that is not my full-time gig, but we'll do about 11 million in here in Cincinnati, average sale price being 250. That's in that 30 to 40 range. Nice. But I'm also, that's a part-time effort there. Yeah. With the way I laid in business, which is the relationship side, with very little need to protect, 3 hours a day and grind out lead attraction or lead gen, whatever you want to call it.
It just goes to show though, this is like what we're so passionate about. Like when you got your systems and shit dialed in, it's like do 40 deals a year, full on part-time gig, part-time 40 deals.
like in my sleep. Like, honestly, when you get systems and you have leverage, when you understand how to leverage and you spend a little time building the foundation, that's honestly what this business can do for you. It's worth it. Yeah. But nobody wants to spend the time building it.
Well, I do about the same number of volume as Monica, but it takes me like 85 deals to get there.
Now, is that because of the difference in price points, or you've structured your business a little bit differently? We're in the same city.
It's just different. Yeah, like the price points lower. It's just different. But I think, but the difference also is I'm more focused on generating leads. And so what that was able to do for me is I was able to I can travel a lot because I even left for like a whole year and still ran our real estate company because I just generate leads. And now my business partner and I have moved to a model where we're referring 99% of stuff out and we're still making money, which is awesome. Yeah, that's super cool. So the pandemic was actually really good for us because I had already traveled. So our team already knew how to operate remotely.
Yeah. So basically, it sounds like you've got the same setup as me and Peter, because I have location freedom because I'm the guy that lead generates markets, does all that stuff. And Peter's the guy that actually...
Team Mertland.
Yeah. And Peter's the actual guy that goes to the homes and shakes hands and kisses babies. And
oh, fuck, it's the worst. I hate it. I don't give a shit.
See, actually, for us, it does work really well. And seems like, the dynamic very much so. Monica and I, we can vibe on that side. And then 100%. Andrew and Jen, you guys are more together that way.
Yeah, because
they just don't like people. I mean, they're in the people business and they figured out a way not to. Yeah, I don't know about that.
They just don't like putting up with their shit.
Right.
I just don't. I mean, what do you want? I'll tell you if I can give it to you, and let's move on. That's it.
I like pina coladas and sandy beaches.
There you go. Yeah. Out in the rain.
And not some snow-covered homes freezing my ass off. I'm like, nah, I'll just go where I want to go.
No, right. I want to be warm. I'm actually getting ready to go to Colombia for a month.
See?
In a couple weeks. See, it's perfect. And I can work from there and it's great. I can practice my Espanol, even though it's terrible, and I can eat guacamole and tacos. Perfect.
All the stereotypes, just get them in quick.
Really. I mean,
sombrero.
You just made no friends. Yeah. You should rethink Colombia. Go somewhere else at this point.
I love Colombia.
Look up Sofia Vergara while you're there. She'll probably want to see you.
I do like your style though, Jen, because you're away for long periods of time and you can still get your stuff done. I think that's very impressive, right? Because people business, we like to go see houses, show them the houses, build those relationships. But how are you able to let go of the control for such a long period of time and trust somebody else in your business? Is it just because you guys are referring it at scale? Or do you have, like dedicated buyers, showing agents that you leverage instead?
I think and that's like something that Monica and I do agree on and we do talk about. There's this team 2.0. So I did used to have a team. It was about, I think at the most, it was like 10 people or so. And it was a total nightmare because you bring people in, you spend all your energy training them and all this stuff, and then they leave or they're not a good fit or whatever, right? So now, and this is as a result of not only being at eXp Realty where we moved to, but also just from traveling, it's like, okay, we have to think of a different way. Like there's a lot of ways to do business. How can we do this? So now we do have partners that are their own real estate agents. And then I get to refer whoever the lead to whoever I think is going to close it. So like it could be based on the house, it could be based on the people or whatever. And then they close it. And honestly, right now, all the time, agents do not know how to lead generate and they do not like it. So these people are paying like a high referral fee for this lead. And I'm like, this is great. I have no expenses and I get money. Boom.
It's a wild world. By the way, you two are both sinners like me and Peter are joining the EXP. Honestly, how could you? Honestly, it's just a better life over here, but don't tell everybody how terrible it is.
You mean smart.
Like, we love it. We moved and it's like, this is the fucking best thing we ever did, man. Like, it's so fantastic.
Agreed.
What I want to do, because I think I have this vibe that we could end up getting on for about 6 hours here. So with that in mind,
we're going to need some beers for that.
I've got the bottle of whiskies right by my side.
Vodka.
Do not worry. Listen, I'm ready to go whenever. So with that being said, let's dive into your first topic, which is, what does success look like? And explain why that is your first secret to success. Whoever's first, Jen.
Monica.
I have a feeling we're going to get two different perspectives on this one. So
actually,
do we do rock, paper, scissors on this one? Who goes first? I think Jen, you went.
This one we might agree on, actually. So what Jen's going to get pissed off because I'm going to say it depends, which she just gets so irritated when I see it because she sees the world as like freaking black and white. And I see the real world, which has lots of different
choice,
areas.
man.
Whatever.
Make a choice. Whatever. You're not Switzerland.
Okay. So success does depend on what is important to the person. We cannot sit here and name a blanket sentence, say a blanket sentence of what success is. Although if I had to, it would be you living your best life. And if we're in real estate and we're talking about that, leveraging real estate to live your best life. But that's going to look very different to Jen than it is to me and to, a business partner I have that is only in real estate to do 5 deals a year because she wants to buy her grandkids Christmas presents at the end of the year and doesn't want to listen to her husband bitching about how much money she's spending on the grandkids. Mm-hmm. So success to her looks very different than it does to me. I think the problem in this business is that agents do not have clarity on what success looks like to them. They do not sit down and define what they want their life to look like and how this business can leverage that life for them. And without clarity, screw it. I will never bet on you. I will never bet on you if you do not know where you're going, because it is just very unlikely that you will ever get anywhere near what you kind of think you want. So I think that in that sentence is the need for extreme clarity.
The problem with clarity that I found is that when you are clear and you're focused, you get it faster than you think. So you're like, oh shit, what am I going to do now?
Did you just say that was a problem? Oh, wait, I got it faster than I thought. That's not a problem.
Not like really a problem, but it is like, what I find is that like, I think people don't think bigger. So I think that when they're initially clear, and to me, let me back up. So success to me, originally, I had thought that success was that I come from a family of entrepreneurs. So you own this business, you have a lot of people working for you, you're working 24/7, you're like blah, all this. And then I did that and I was like, oh no, I don't like this. This is terrible. My marriage went down the tubes, like all this stuff. And I was like, this is not fun. And I agree with you, Monica, that it is about what is the life that you, just on this little point.
Okay, fine.
What is the life that, what is the life that you want to create for yourself? And what can you do that gets you there faster? So what are the activities that you're doing that has the biggest return on investment to get you what you want now rather than later? And so for me, I knew that I've always loved to travel. I love working, but I love playing too. So I was like, okay, what can I do? And real estate has the highest return on investment when compared to like any other field. I cannot think of another field where we can get what we get in the amount of time that we spend doing it. And the highest volume activity is generating leads. So I was like, oh, well, I could just do that for a few hours a day and get what I want, which is having passive income more than active income. And then, boom, it happens. So, holy crap.
So Jennifer, just to give everybody a little bit of clarity, because obviously we know what you're talking about because we've been doing this for quite some time. When you say you're only lead generating, are you using a specific platform? What does that look like? Help us and the audience understand, what does Jennifer do to create a passive income? We know it's, there's definitely a component of it being passive, but it's also active, right?
It's leveraged.
There's active income too. It's leveraged income.
It's leveraged income ultimately.
Yeah. Right.
I have two basic leads that I'm looking for. One are real estate agents that are looking to come to EXP because we have a revenue share model. The other is buyers and sellers. And so for the revenue share model is generating leads, that kind of just depends on where you want to generate. So I generate leads internationally. So I use LinkedIn because LinkedIn is used more internationally than anywhere else. But for buyers and sellers, I use Vulcan 7 and I call expireds, for sale by owners, for rent by owners, circle prospecting. I mean, the notice of default list, which there's not really many on there, things like that.
So then you basically pull up one of those lists and your forte is reaching out to these individuals directly, getting them to agree to either meet with you or list their house with you or potentially look at buying something. And then you take that lead, you have an agent in your market on your self-organized team or in your organization, right? Whatever. And you're like, hey, talk to Jimmy. Jimmy's looking to sell this or house. By the way, it's going to cost you 40%. Whatever the percentage is, right?
Whatever
and
it
then
is.
There you go.
Yeah.
And you hand it off. And then if they close it, cool, you get a check. And if not, you move on to the next one or you give that lead to somebody else, right?
Right. Because that's it.
God, you make it sound so simple.
It is very simple. You just get on the phone every day and I do text messaging too. But you get on the phone every day or however you generate leads. Like Monica generates leads through Facebook. I can't do that. I'm more better. I can do the phone. That's what I can do. I can smile and dial and get it done.
Well, that's why it works for you. And that's what's oftentimes when we're talking to top producers like Jen, who do cold transactional type business, what we don't hear is that she actually enjoys that.
Yeah.
I would fail at that no matter what my skill set is in general. I would fail there. I hate it. I cry when people hang up on me. I don't want to bother them.
I take it so personally.
Oh, I take it so personally. And so that is not going to work for me. And if your listeners are sitting here thinking, Jen's making it seem so simple. If you're not okay with that, that is not the path to go. Yeah. You will be crushed.
But you know where they live and they don't know you. So
So what? So drop by their house, say what's up.
She's got serial killer vibes.
There has been times when people are mean or whatever. And it very rarely are they. I've heard some really interesting ones. So I'm like, wow, that's one. I'm writing that down. That's a good one. But then I just go door knock. It's hilarious. They do not know who you are. They don't remember because they're not talking to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
You show up at Halloween, trick or treat. This is the trick, motherfuckers.
No, I try to show up on like Labor Day and stuff where I can get a hot dog and a beer. Like, hey, I'm coming in, joining your party.
Some good little things. Now, one of the things I just want to loop back on that you said, Monica, was about success is unique it's an individual thing, which I 100% agree with. And I also think defining it is important. I think this is where people miss the boat in a big way because, and by the way, I don't think this is just real estate. I think it's societal because I think we've all got so wrapped up in the fast money bullshit that's going on. I mean, I think crypto's just 10x how bad this has got. Where people are like, yeah, I've got a Dogecoin for $1. It's now worth $1 million, and it's like I'm $1 million, and then they lose it, and it's like we're in the craziest world for wealth generation ever, and people have these really distorted outlooks on like what happiness and wealth look like for them because they basically try and absorb someone else's persona or outlook on like. Gary Vee, for anyone that doesn't know, he owns VaynerMedia and he wants to be a billionaire. Yeah. And people are like, I want to be a billionaire like Gary. And why? His goal since he was a kid, he wanted to buy the jets. And that's the only thing that fuels him, right? And he said he thinks the saddest day of his life will be the day he buys the jets, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's like all of a sudden you get your goals and you're like, well, because then what am I going to do now?
Right. So like the goal from a certain point is monetary. If you look at data, it says about $70,000 a year. After that, money and happiness are no longer intertwined, right? Up to about 70 grand a year, they're in line with each other. And after about 70 grand a year, they're not. Now, that's not saying you want just 70. You might want 150, you might want 200. That might be your life. You might want $1 million. Million's fine. Like you can have whatever you want, but just it's got to be on your own terms. Like that's where I think people miss the boat. It's like, we've spoke. I actually think this was quite a good analogy that I came up with. It was on another show. When we were talking, I said, I think a lot of people build real estate businesses and they're like, they build them and it's like walking a dog and they're walking the dog and they're building it and they're just continually walking this dog and the dog's getting bigger and that's their real estate business. And then eventually the dog gets so big, it starts walking them. Right. And that's what happens is like teams and they go and they get trapped in this loop and they're like, I want to do 50 deals and I do 100 and I do 200 and I do 300. And then it gets to a certain point where they can't leave. Now the business is literally keeping them there. So the thing that they built to set them free is now the cage. They've now built their own cage, not their own plane to freedom, which is why I think this is an amazing conversation to have. Because I think we've all got it twisted. And I think the answer is like, what do you really fucking want? Because like, do you want to hang out with your kids? Do you want to sit on a beach? What do you want to do? Do you want to, like me, I like racing cars. Do you want to race cars? What do you want to do? Do you want to earn $1 million? Cool. Okay, that's your goal then. Fine.
Yeah, but part of the problem though is, Andrew, is that most real estate companies are set up to have you, okay, what's next? You're always doing more deals or you're growing a team or whatever. They set you up for that because the whole system is jacked. And if you listen to the podcast, I always want to blow it up because if you stop working and stop, doing buyers and sellers, then they don't make any money.
Right. Exactly.
So they're always pushing you. So then that becomes, okay, who are you aligned with? What do they think? What is their relationship to you? And what do they want for you as well? Is their goals aligned with you or not? And that's one of the reasons that we moved. Because it's like, we realized like, I can't grow this team. Exactly what you're saying. I can't grow this team big enough to get what I want because every time I add more people, I add a lot more expenses. I add another headache. I add some more drama. Now I have to get my gray hair dyed every 3 weeks because it's just turning gray. You know what I mean? And so now it's like, this isn't worth it. Like not happening.
Have you ever looked at realtor headshots?
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah.
We did a podcast on that. Like, if your photo is more than 4 years old, it's time.
And if your friends are not telling you, then they're not friends. They're not good friends.
Then you need to send it to me and I'll tell you.
You know what, though, Andrew? You said, God, what you said is so important. And one exercise that I think we can do to make sure we're really evaluating what we want and not what we think we should want Because in this business, we see, what success looks like is these agents up on these panels and they're in their fancy suits,
driving
driving the
Lambos,
fancy cars, and their marriage is a freaking disaster. And they're actually not making near the money that you think they are and all this stuff. But the question is, if you were on a deserted earth and it was just you, what would you want? If nobody,
I wouldn't want to be there. That sounds
nobody
boring.
could see what you could wear, what would you wear? Like, we do so
Nothing.
much for this outside. I know you'd be naked. It's okay. It's all right. But we make all these decisions with so many other people in mind, and it's almost near to impossible to really evaluate, what do I want? What do I want?
That should is strong, though. What you should be doing, what you think you ought to be doing, what the expectation, what you think everybody wants you to be doing. Oh my God.
Should have, would have, could have, all over ourselves, right?
The shoulding, yes. And our brokerages are shoulding on us for that reason that Jen said, because they have their goals in mind. And the day I stop selling houses is the day I'm not of use to them anymore.
Well, I think that is true up until EXP, right? Which is why I think it's the fastest brokerage in history. Because now it's like, okay, well, my plan was to sell real estate for another couple of years anyway. Well, now I just switch, I grow my team, help them go my path if they want to. They'll do that for a few years. I still get paid. And then that gives you that passive, and it is truly passive. After a certain point of basically you training your front line, depending on how people have built it, I mean, those other layers, like,
that's Monica now.
It's like truly passive.
She doesn't have to work. But even if a lot of people are like, well, I don't want to recruit. You don't have to recruit. This is a retirement plan. 100%. Like, you can also, this is a way to sell your business. People get into business. The brokerage is like, have your team name named your name, which is not saleable. The Jennifer Mertland team is not saleable. Team Synergy is more saleable, right? Yeah. We teach you how to build a business so that you can sell it. So even if you don't, you can just have the person who's taking over in your downline, and then we can work out a business plan so you can retire and still make money without recruiting if you don't want to. I mean, you should, but you don't have to.
I think that's the common misconception, is that a lot of the outside world, it's like you just have to be a one-trick pony, or you're only focusing on one thing. However, everything is really focused and centered around production. Yeah. Now, production to somebody, person A versus person B may be a little bit different. And that's okay. Right. Their focus may be split a little bit, but ultimately it goes back to, what does success look like to you? Yeah. Right? And
I like the way you circled that back around to the point that we had 10 minutes ago. Good job.
Oh, and by the way, you might not have known this, but we've already helped over 100 agents cross over $100,000 per year and up in GCI with our predictable and scalable systems. So if you're interested in learning more about our courses and coaching to help you scale your business to 6 figures and beyond, then head over to go.eliteagentsecrets.com.